Flosstube! Welcome to my channel. I'm Jessie and this is the Magical Anime Stitcher. How is everyone doing today? I hope you're doing great. I am filming this on Saturday, October 4th here in Southeast Texas. And it's a lovely day. It's a nice shiny day outside and I'm inside recording Flosstube. But wouldn't want to spend it with any other folks at this moment. But we are ready. We are getting ready for spooky season. Still got some decorating I gotta do, but I got my spooky stitcher shirt on that I got off of Etsy, and I have my, oh look, another glorious morning, makes me sick, Hocus Pocus themed cauldron mug. So is it cool enough to need hot drinks? No. We do not have fall weather here in Texas. Just one day it's cold. But usually our really nice days don't tend to show up until late in October or beginning of November. But we're still in our nice, cool 90s. All right. It was a good stitchy month. I did some traveling, which did impact a little bit of my stitching. And because there's only so much you can do in a hotel room. By the way, when did hotels stop having overhead lights? I don't think I've seen one in a long time. But, you know, when you don't have an overhead light and all you got is like the lamps and you forget your travel light like I did, it's really hard to stitch because it's not very well lit in the rooms, even though you have everything turned on. So, I don't know. I understand like not wanting to have it because it's a hotel room. You're supposed to be comfortable, getting sleeps. But there's also like some of the hotels I stay in, they're like business hotels. And if people need to work, they need to have better lighting around their work. The desk and stuff, you would think. Anyways, enough of that babbling. So again, so not as much stitching in September as one would hope. But still solid. I had a finish. I had two finishes to some degree. We'll talk about that. But so it was good. And one of those is also going to be explaining why there wasn't as much stitching. Let's be real. But I worked on 4 projects. I put in 6,913 stitches over 27 days. So while I was traveling and doing other things, I did stitch even if it's not that much. So, but yeah, so there we go. Let's start with it's football season is back. I think I talked about it in our beginning Flosstube. And so it's, but we had our first official home game, which was on a Monday night. So I can't do as much stitching because, well, it gets dark. They don't turn on the right? And that was not a great home game for us here in Houston, but it's okay. It'll be all right. So, but back to football stitching. I am still working on the Texas Logo. This is by Sporticulture, and this was a kit, and it's on, I think, 16 count Aida, I think is what it is. I don't know. I don't think I see it anywhere. 18 count Aida. It's on 18 count Aida. And so this is where it is. I put 215 stitches in the 2 game days. My second day, I dropped my needle in the middle of the first quarter. So basically did not get to stitch very much. But here we are. I did do a modification to the star. I did not think the star looked very good on the picture. Let me show you what it looked like on the completed picture so you can see. There you go. See, I didn't think that looked great, honestly. So the Texans logo, the star is askew. It's not like a straight star. It's like kind of like a slanted kind of star. And so it's kind of difficult to stitch that. I try to put it into a program like to see if I could redo it in such a way where it looked right. And I couldn't quite do it. So I did do a slight modification on the star. So it is just slightly slanted, but I think it looks a little cleaner. Like I think it looks like a star, which I think on here, it does not. So no dig to the model stitcher. I think this is stitched according to how it's charted. And the way it's charted does not create a nice star shape. So there it is. So basically I did star and I just started adding rows. All right, so this will continue to be my football game stitching until it's finished. And then I have a different project that I'm going to start doing. at football games. It'll probably take me forever and a half to do it, but you know, I'll talk about that when we come to it. All right, so next up is greenwashing. So this is my next project in the finish what needs to be finished set. It's the one that's closest to a finish at this point in time of all my projects based off of whether or not I know the stitch count. I don't, if it's not something I can put in Pattern Keeper, I don't know the stitch count, and so I don't worry about that. Unless the pattern included that number, then I would do that, right? So, but anyway, so here is greenwashing. This is by Sprouting Lupine. It was part of the Stitchers Collective Earth Day bundle from 2023. I've been working on it for a while. And so this time I worked on it for 4 days, and I put in 715 stitches. This is on 32 count Lugana Willow by Coloring Cotton. And I'm using all the called for DMC except for one conversion where it was called for Forbidden Fiber Code color. I did not have it, and so I just went ahead and used a DMC for it. And basically what I did on this one, this month, is I kind of just finished off this piece, right? So I'm kind of working in this quadrant. So I think last time you saw it, I was up to here, and so I'm just filling in that quadrant at this point in time. I don't know if I'm going to finish this this month because it's October. It's time to do some spooky stitching, but I'm hoping to be able to get it done before the end of the year, and I think it's feasible. I think I'm currently at 75% or something like that completed. It's also likely going to be, I have one more trip, excuse me, that I'm scheduled to take in October, another flight. And this is probably what I'll take with me on the flight because the Halloween projects will not travel well. And this one isn't an easy travel project. So there, yes, very excited about that. All right. Oh, now we get to the exciting part. All right. If you follow me on Instagram, then you would have already seen these. But I'm so excited. I have a finish for I Search for an Ancestor. And that's from the Laurel Witch. I stitched this on 32 count Lugana, Haunted by Seraphim Hand-Dyed Fabrics. And here it is. Here it is. Da, 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 da. All right. Oh my goodness. I love it so much. So let's talk about it. First of all, this dress is a beast. This is like 75% of the stitching is the dress, but I do think it makes a difference, right? Like, it's worth it. It's worth the stitching. And what makes it really good is that because it's black and white, while you do have to pay attention to counting, because obviously I had one frogging situation, I think it really creates the right scale. Like it is the right scale for that dress when you kind of think of what the time period is being evoked to there. And so you're scared of the dress. Don't be. It actually stitched pretty quickly once you kind of get in pace with the counting and everything of it. And it's a really good project to do, like a stitch a day or 100 stitches a day or something like that, because once you get to that dress, it's pretty easy. I did have some, I would say, some cautionary concerns about the back stitching because I thought some of the letters were over one over one stitch, right? One letter over two. And I mean over two. And I was like, ooh, is that going to be easy to read? And I think it's fine. Like, so I went ahead and did everything has stitched. And I think it actually looks fine. It is small. Come on. There you go. It is small, but I think it's legible. And I think it creates the right kind of feel for this piece. And then the last thing I did, I did do a hair and skin conversion so that the lady looked a little bit more like me. And then the last thing is I did do some Mill Hill beads instead of using, instead of stitching those. I think it looks great. Just kind of look at the beading there. I'm not great at beading, so I hope it looks all right. I did try to follow the chart a little bit, and I just eventually got to the point where I was like, I'm just going to randomly put them on where I think they make sense. And so I'm super excited about it. It does have some of my dog's hair throughout it because all my pieces have my dog's hair throughout it. But as you see, I did play some significant fabric chicken on this, so I'm hoping it will still be frameable. But I will be taking this to the framer soon. It is basically what I'm asking for a Christmas gift, is for this to be framed for me. And so yeah, super excited about that finish. I've been working on it a long time. It was my oldest whip, but for what I'm about to show you. Because we already finished my oldest whip a while ago. As y'all recall, it was Cinderella Wishes Upon a Dream. And now so I searched for an Ancestor was my second oldest whip. So now that's done. But my oldest whip currently will not get done anytime soon. But I did have I want to finish it because I need to finish it. And my goal was to finish Sailor Venus. That is right, folks. It's the return of Sailor Moon Squad, my Tilton Crafts artwork by Daniel Kordek. So here it is. This is a lot to stitch because it's confetti heavy, right? Like we know that these big, BAPs, these BAPs have a lot of, why can't I think of words like confetti? I was about to say popcorn. That's not right. Confetti stitching. And so like literally there was like one day where I was like, I just sat at the edge of my couch with my cart of floss there and I was just doing like the 2 or 3 stitches of a color, and that took like I spent the entire like evening and day working on it, and I think I only put in like 102 stitches or something after like 5 hours of stitching or something. So it's time consuming when you're getting into the confetti side of things, but I did it. I finished Sailor Venus. Now I am doing this 1/1 full cross on 25 count Lugana. Oop, I'm sorry. I can't see it. So there she is. I think she looks great, if I say so myself. So my goal for 2025 was to finish Sailor Venus. And I'm hopeful that going forward that I will try to finish one scout a year is kind of my plan. So my intention is to go this way. I'm going to do Sailor Jupiter next. And that's it. I do need to go through and do some seam stitching. It is counted. Like I have 2 inches of each side, but I feel like as pieces keeps kind of shredding a little bit, right? Like I'm worried that I'm going to lose some, end up with some fabric chicken soon. But yeah, I'm so happy with it. I'm so happy. I am going to start Jupiter soon. So I'm not going to wait until January to do that. I'm going to go ahead and start it at some point in time before the end of the year. And just so that way I kind of get into the mindset that, yes, it's time to work on Sailor Moon Squad, because this took me too long. I started this in 2020. I think I did. I think this was my COVID start. And so, like, this shouldn't be something that takes me 20 years to finish, is basically what I'm saying. So I'm going to kind of hyper focus on it, but not like in a way where I get burnt out on it. But yeah, that was super exciting. And I didn't tell you my numbers. I searched for an Ancestor. I worked on it for 7 days and I put in 2,726 stitches. And for Sailor Moon Squad, I worked on it for 15 days and I put in 3,257. It was my focus piece. And so what's interesting is that like up front, like some of the stuff like doesn't show up as well. And like I was like, oh, like up close, I'm like, oh, you can't see the signet of her symbol, but like in the distance you can, which is just goes to show like how designing really works. Like, right, you gotta be careful about being too hyper focused on stuff. So yeah, I'm so happy. All right. Okay. All right. So that was all my stitching, just 4 projects. And, but I did go to, this is another reason why I didn't get as much stitching done as I would normally do, because I did go to Lindy Stitch's, Harvest Moon Party. Is that right? Harvest Moon Hangout. That's what it was. And I took both classes, the Project Bag class and the the squeaky witch hat pincushion. That's not what it was called. But, and both of those projects pretty much took me the entire day that the class was on. So I basically was only ready for, I cut the fabric for the project bag, and I went into the class just ready to try to follow along as best as I could. And then ultimately had to just spend the rest of the evening working on it. And I only ended up like stitching that day for like, 100 stitches or something. Because it took me forever. So that kind of explains kind of the mess that's behind me right now, because some of this stuff is like stuff I have for work. and also they were kind of sitting on this side of the room, which is where my cutting mat and my iron station is at. And so I had to move everything to be able to work on this, on the projects. Right, so the first project was the Spooky Starburst project bag. This was hosted by Tiger Lily. And so this is what the model was. If you bought the kit, this was the, this is what yours looked like when it was done. And so just some things. Obviously, I did not buy the kit. Well, not obviously. I'm telling you, I did not buy the kit. It was sold out by the time I bought the class, and which reminds me, the Jingle Ball tickets have gone on sale, and I haven't even decided. So if there's not a kit, which I'm assuming they're all sold out, I guess I'm going to have to figure out whether or not I'm going to invest in some things. But anyways, diversion, here we go. So I did not buy the kit because it was sold out. I think these are very cute, and I would have been very happy with this. But I'm also really happy with what I chose to do instead. So there's a couple of changes that I made from this, which is one, obviously I changed the fabric. Two, I did not get this trim. So I thought it was quite pricey. It was like $13 for like the roll or something in that. And it's a lot to spend when you don't know if you're going to use it. You know what I mean? And so while I'm disappointed I didn't get to try it, which is one of the things I like about kits, is because you can try something because you don't end up with this whole batch of material that you may or may not ever use afterwards if you don't like it. But I did not want to buy this whole thing. I don't remember how much it was, but whatever it was in my math analysis of whether or not it was good, it was worth the dollars. I'm sure it's worth the dollars. I just wasn't sure I was going to like it. And so I didn't use that. So first and foremost, let's start with the fact that my inspiration fabric was a pumpkins fabric, right? So this is the coordinating fabric that the pumpkins designed for their Halloween wreath salon, which was a few years ago. And I bought it at the time because I thought the likelihood is I was going to finish. I thought I was going to finish. Okay, I had a glitch. Apparently I ran out of storage and my video just stopped recording. And so I had to go and clear up some space so that way I can finish my video. Not a big deal. I don't worry about deleting videos off of my computer once everything's uploaded to YouTube. I don't feel a need to keep them, but it was like, oh, there you go. All right, where was I? I was talking about pumpkin fabrics, I believe, right? So this is the coordinating fabric for the Halloween wreath by the Frosted Pumpkin stitchery. I haven't finished that piece yet, even though I thought about making a pillow, because I haven't stitched a Christmas wreath yet, and I don't think they have a coordinating Christmas fabric. So then I was like, oh, do I want to have one with a coordinating fabric, one without? So anyways, basically, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went ahead and decided to use it as my inspiration fabric for the project bag. And so, although it took me all day to do it, I finished it. So here is my project bag. It's solid. It's a good size. I think you can I didn't even bet to see about what it holds if you can put things if you snap it. But I suspect it is big enough for that, right? So here it is. So I used my inspo piece. I decided to go with the frog as my signature center. And then, of course, at the top you can see it. And it's the back. And I did have to do, so the way that the class, and then, of course, I came up with my own fabrics. Some of these I pulled from Stash. I couldn't tell you anything about it. And then some of these I pulled, went to the store with my best friend, who's a quilter and a knitter, and she helped me kind of fill out the rest of the fabric choices. Now, almost everything I picked was directional in some way, which I thought was funny. But so this little dude was directional, and although it's hard to tell, the ones with the mask were slightly directional as well. But otherwise, I think I did okay. I had intended to make them an opposite. So my eye does not like too much randomness. It's the reason why I like cross stitching, y'all, because it's so set, right? Like you can see what's going on. But, so I had one of these to kind of be a mirror on each other. And this one I messed up. For some reason, I did not get these swapped correctly, so they're not in the right order. But this side, it's the same, right? Like, so I got them swapped a little bit correctly, but not quite. But either way, unless I told you about it, you might think it's intentional, so it's intentional. And obviously, as I mentioned, I did not use the chenille trim that was recommended in the class. And so I had some pom-poms from Lady Dot Creates. And this color was called Wicked. And so what took a long time, I don't think I want to confess how long, probably a solid half hour, 45 minutes for me. I stitched on the pom-pom. And I did leave the little zipper or whatever, that little piece of thread what the pom-pom sits on there. And that's what I used to stitch it on. I just kind of did a ladder stitch in between, not a ladder stitch, yeah, like a whip stitch over each of in the center of each pom-pom. And then I went through and stitched it on. So there it is. My inside fabric was also a directional fabric, but I don't think it really matters, which was these cute little spiders climbing up and down. The part that's going to be upside down is here. Who cares? Thoughts on the class. It was a good class. I think that Tiger Lily, Carrie, I think Carrie is her name, does a really good job of teaching opinions. My opinions, you don't have to agree with them. And other people, and mileage varies. I think it depends on whether or not you're a person who knows how to sew or is also a quilter or has made your own project bags. I think some of it also depends on your skill set that you come in doing it, and then how quickly you learn if you don't have the skill set that is kind of needed for something like this. I thought the way that she did the class was very good, in the sense that what she ended up doing was that she recorded the assembly video before, and what we did in the class was that we live watched the class with her, and then she would pause and answer questions as we went. I think that made the most amount of sense, because I don't believe that you actually can make this in 2 hours. And so I think that was the right way to do it. It's like, here's the class. You have access not only through but through the Harvest Moon Hangout site for 30 days, but then also the class video that she created is also available to the attendees forever. And so it allows us to kind of come back to it and things like that. But I do believe you need to be a sewer. At minimum, I think you need to know how to sew. I don't think anyone would take the class if they didn't know how to sew. But I may recommend that you may be a person who may need to be a quilter, because this was not particularly easy. And she went through the class pretty quickly. And because the recording is in 2 hours. I mean, it's a 2-hour recording. And so, but the actual work of it doesn't, right? And so I only ended up doing one set of stitching instead of a crossing over. The fabric, the fusible that she uses is very, very thick, which is great because look how solid it is. I don't know what's my favorite. Like, I think I would probably use a different interfacing or fusible, so that way it wasn't. Oh my gosh! I just realized. Oh no! Look at this. Look what I just discovered. It didn't catch. It didn't catch. Oh no! I'm just gonna go through and do. My printer decided to have an opinion. I think I'm just gonna go through and do some hand stitching on that, and not worry about it. Ah! I can't believe that. Real life. So, but yeah, so I would probably say that if you are interested in doing a class like this, I would have put this at an intermediate skill set. Coming in. I would say if you've never made a project bag, or you're a brand new quilter, while I thought her instructions were very good, I still think it was an intermediate level of skill set to be able to do this, because you have to know how to put in a zipper, which I will fully confess took me way too much time to learn how to put on a zipper on anything, right? I mean, I can do it, but the other thing to consider, like, going forward, I would say, I kitted this up myself, and I use a by Annie's zipper. I think the zipper that was suggested by Carrie was had a bigger, a longer, whatever this part is, and so the technique that she was talking about didn't quite work as well because I think this part on my Annie's is not as wide. And so it ended up being, I had to modify. And it's not a big deal. This is not a criticism of the class or anything like that. But I had to modify. And I think if you didn't know how to put on a zipper or how to quilt, it would have been difficult to modify. Does that make sense? Because I still have to think about it and I know how to put on a zipper. So, but yeah, I enjoyed the class. She's an excellent teacher. The only feedback, if anyone wants me to give feedback, and I don't know if anyone cares about my opinion on this, her written instructions had too many steps in one paragraph. Like, as a person who teaches people on things, adult learning and stuff like that, even though we're adult learners, you still need to break things out a little bit more. And sometimes it's like when it's too much writing, it's easy to kind of miss things. So there's that. Okay, so that was that. And then I also signed up with Lady Dot Creates, which is Lois's squeaky, what is it called? I can't remember what she called it. Squeaky witch hat. And so I did that as well. And ta-da! Now I did get the kit. And I suspect that she made a kit for everybody who wanted a kit. Like, because I don't recall it ever getting, because I signed up to class the same day and there was not a sellout or anything. So here it is. Now, as you can tell, it's a little angled. But I think that's okay. I didn't make it quite straight up all the way, but that's all right. But look how cute this guy is. So, so there are the little ribbons and the pom-poms. Oh, it doesn't want to. There it goes. And then on this side, let's turn it this way. It's the little pumpkin pins. There we go. And then here's my top with my bats. Doesn't want to focus on me because it wants to focus on me. Where's my do? I don't know where my do is. All right. Well, anyways, I don't know where my white background is. But yeah. Oh, this is cute. So I did finish this 30 minutes after the class was done. So it was a 2-hour class. I was able to keep up with the class. This was doable in that time frame. It took me a little longer. Again, it took me about another 30 minutes or so after that before I was able to finish. I do think the class was a little bit fast paced, but not insurmountable. I think the reason why the class is I think the reason why she was able to finish the class in 2 hours is because she did have a helper who was doing some of the sewing. So she had someone else do the little closing. So there's a little seam here where stitching the cone together. That took me longer than the person who was stitching it during the class. So this is one of the areas that kind of slowed me down a bit on that side of things, right? And I think another thing that slowed me down in comparison to the class was the stuffing of the hat. I did up using some wool roving that I had some leftovers from my last class when I did the Pincushion with hands-on design in the summer, the Midsummer Eve stitch. And so I went ahead and just used the wool roving. I think it looks great. I'll take one of these out and right, so it's a solid thing. One of the things I think that was not, I don't remember it being in the instructions or in the way it was described in the materials, but you could use polyester stuffing. But one of the things that she talked about in the class was that you wanted, and I wasn't sure about that. I was like, well, can you use that polyester for a Pincushion? Because I wasn't really sure, because I was like, like this one. I have some, right? Like these things, right? And I was like, well, can I use it? And I actually had started to use it, but then the way she described it was that you wanted something that wasn't shining, that you wanted the one that was matte. But then I realized, well, this is shiny and it's not matte, right? And so I'm going to try not to stab myself. But you can kind of see, it doesn't really, the pin doesn't quite sit well. Full recognition, I did not have a solid ball. I guess I can try to get a solid ball. There we go. But it's slippery. I can tell you it's slippery. And so I think that it does sit, but I wonder if it would actually long-term hold the shape of it or anything. And so, but Lois talked about you should get you can use the polyester feel, but you want it to be the matte one, because that will, I guess, help the stuffing and then the Pincushion working the way it's supposed to be working. So anyways, I love the class. Again, oh so fast paced. If you're slow to stitch like I was, you're not going to keep up. But otherwise, it was really great. I would recommend a class with Lois anytime. I would also recommend a class with Carrie anytime, but I do think you should have some sewing skills before you show up. The hat, however, I don't think you need any particular skill set, except maybe doing a whip stitch depending on the project, right? So, but otherwise, it was the kit was spectacular. Everything was in there. Everything measured right. Like, I didn't have to worry about anything. And so, excellent kit there. All right. That's what I did in September. So, but it's now spooky season. We're very excited about spooky season, right? Because it's a glorious day and I hate it. Y'all know me. I'm in Halloween 365 when I can be, but I have not done very many Halloween stitching. So I have 4 Halloween projects. I have Tonight We Ride by Autumn Lane Stitchery, Black Cat Hollow by Barbara Ann Designs, Baba Yaga from Autumn Lane Stitchery, and then I have Halloweeny by Plum Street Sampler. So those are my 4 Halloween projects that I have in progress right now, that they are already on. And so my decision for my plans is my October plans, I guess we're talking about October plans. So my plan was to stitch on each one of those projects for 7 days. And the last project will just get some extra love through Halloween, right? Because obviously it's 28 days, there's an extra 3 days. So my intention was to kind of go from the lowest to the highest. And then probably it will be Baba Yaga that would be last. We'll get the full 10 days of stitching because that's the one I would like to finish before anything else, because all the others are very close to the beginning. I mean, they probably only have like 200 stitches in each of them, like enough to be considered a start, but not enough to really say I can get them done if I do nothing but stitch on that. Whereas I think with Baba Yaga, I think if I focus on that, I don't think I'll finish, but I'll get pretty close to a finish, and maybe I'll finish it in November or whatever, right? Obviously, I already mentioned I have a quick turnaround trip in October. Like, I'm only going to be in the space for 36 hours. I think I'll probably spend more time in the airports than I actually will where I am, but it's okay. There'll be a whirlwind, and it's the weekend before my busiest week of the year of my job. So yeah, there you go. All right. That's it on my stitching updates. So some quick little life updates, I guess. We did go see, talk about anime. We did go see my Demon Hunter, Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle in the theaters. We did watch it, subbed. And because even though we did start watching it originally dubbed, we love the story so much we can't wait. So we see it in the subbed, and so we did the same in the theater. It's such a good story. It's such a good story. Like, if you're not an anime fan, that's okay. If you're not like a fantasy sci-fi kind of person, I think you'll so like it. It's the storytelling. Yes, it's about demons and and this whole story, this whole fantasy sci-fi kind of storytelling that happens there, but it's really a human story. Like, it's a story about this young man who loves his sister, and like everything about like these dynamics of humans and stuff like that. It's such a great story, and so we really enjoyed it. Highly recommended. Go watch it. So and we are continue watching My Hero Academia. We are getting pretty solidly, I think we're in season 5 now, and I suspect that we'll probably finish it right around the time when the final season comes out, is kind of what we're guessing, that in terms of that, and we're enjoying that. And I mean, we've been doing like our little silly stories, like we'll joke, it's like plus ultra, so we've been enjoying that. So those are the animes that we've been watching, and it's basically what we watch when there's no football on, because there's so much football. So it's okay. Like, my husband loves football and he watches all the games. I go to the game with him and I pay attention. Like, I know how to game. I know cheers. I can I can even probably like dispute some of the calls that the refs make. But it's a lot of football. But thankfully, I just sit there and stitch, and he doesn't expect me to always be paying attention to some game that isn't one of the teams I need to be worried about. But yeah, let's see what else is going on. Work is very stressful. I'm not gonna lie about that. There's a lot of things about it that makes it stressful that I don't want to put out into a public forum. But I did start seeing a therapist about it. So there's that, right? So it's been great. I really like the person that I have connected with. I think I'm gonna gain a lot from working with him. And so just as a reminder, everyone, if you need help, go get some help. I have really good insurance, thankfully. That allows it to be a pretty inexpensive copay. And so yeah, so 10 out of 10 recommend if you need it. And so yeah, that's my life update. We'll see you in a month. I don't know if I'll record this on, the next update will likely be in that November, that first weekend of November, because I will unlikely be taking November 1st off. but yeah, so that's it. Well, I hope wherever you are having a stitchy good time, and I'll see you soon. Oh, wait, no, it's not goodbye. I gotta find and tell you my joke. Computer has been lagging lately, and it worries me that my computer with this update, but my tablet is so sad. I'll wait. I'll show you next time. But talking about work, there's my joke for today. Why did the skeleton quit his job? His heart wasn't in it. Okay, now, wherever you are, I hope you're having a fantastic day and having a spooky stitching good time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. It won't stop.